Hey cuties, it's your girl Jessie Q and welcome back to another video on my channel. So today's video I'm going to be doing it a little bit differently. I'm going to be off camera, but we still have an awesome DIY coming your way. As you can see, I was able to make this really cute backpack and I'm going to show you guys how. So I started off by first cutting out the patterns on this brown paper, and in the next slide I will show you guys all the pieces and sizes that I used. So as you can see, these are all the pieces that I used and the amounts. This is what you need to make your bag. So we are first starting with the back pieces, and I'm doubling my fabric just because it's a little thin. I am using a light denim and I wanted it to be a little more sturdy. So we're starting with the front pocket of the bag, right? So I just sewed the front flap that will close in the front pocket, and I am just going to flip it inside out. And you want to iron this and set it aside until we're ready to use it. Okay, so we're moving on to the actual pocket. You want to iron all of the edges of it so that it is folded in and we have a seam, a nice neat finish when we are finished sewing it down. I am just organizing it here and laying it where I want it to be. You can feel free to use a measuring tape and measure it just to make sure it's in place, or you can do it this way, where I just make a small nick at the halfway point of the face and at the halfway points of the pocket, and just line up the points so that you know for sure that it is in the middle. So I want to use my pins and pin it into place and make sure that it is nice and secure. As you can see, this is it here, and we are just going to sew this down with a straight stitch. So that is it sewn, and we are now going to attach the front flap, and you want to sew it down onto the front face, and you also want to sew down the edge of it just to give it a nice finished look, and we do a top stitch over it. So these are the strap pieces. I have the two long straps, the handled strap, and the two short straps for the back of the bag, and there are more than one ways in which you can fold it to sew it down. It depends on the type of fabric that you have. If you have a fabric that you know is going to fray, then this method that I'm using would be best, and I sewed it on both sides just to have, you know, an equal seam. Now it is time to add our zip, and you just want to make sure that your zipper is in the middle of the fabric. This is the piece that is going to be the side of the bag, the side and top, I guess. You can choose to use Tailors chalk or pencil. I'm using a pencil because of the color of my fabric. I don't want it to, you know, get dirty. You just want to measure or draw in place where you want the space for the zip to stop. So I'm just drawing that in place, and I'm going to attach both sides and make a rectangle, and then in the middle of that rectangle I'm going to draw a line, and that is actually going to be the line that I'm going to cut. This method is really great for people who, you know, are not versed in putting on zips. It can be a bit challenging, but don't worry. So you're just going to draw two triangles to find the center and attach the center line like so. Now that that's attached, you are going to cut the center line only and the two triangle pieces. Do not cut the outside rectangle. So I'm just pinning this in place because I want the fabric to be secure. Because it's doubled, I don't want it to move. You can just cut it by folding the fabric and just making a little neck and cutting the rest from there. Take your time with this. As I said, you only want to cut the middle line and the two triangles. So it would look something like this. And now you are going to add the zipper, and you are going to fold down that excess fabric to the space of the outside rectangle, sorry, and that is how you're going to get your nice neat finish. So as you can see, this is a really simple way of attaching a zipper if you are not familiar with doing so. I'm just pinning this all down in place to make sure that it's nice and secure before I sew it. So now that it's pinned, I'm just going to sew it with a straight stitch using my zipper foot, and this is what it looks like when it's finished. I'm also going to do the exact same thing with the front zipper. As you can see, I did the exact same method. Now it's time to attach the bottom to the side piece. So I'm just going to pin it and sew it in place using a straight stitch. So this is what the entire circumference of our bag looks like, and we're just going to attach the straps, as you can see. So we first have the two long straps, then we just want to pin that in place, and you want to give it a little bit of allowance. So do it a little longer than the face of the bag. We can always cut that off afterward. And we are going to attach the handle strap at the side of it. Pin that in place as well. Now we are going to attach the two straps to the bottom, and these are buckles used for bags such as this. I got this from the craft store, so you can just get this at the craft store. You just want to fold it in half and attach the buckle, and we're going to sew this down to the two bottom corners. Be sure to pin it in place to make sure it's nice and secure. So now that everything is pinned in place, we're just going to sew the top and our two bottom parts, and they have been sewn, and now we just want to attach the rest of the buckle to the long strap. So this is what is going to make it adjustable. You all know those types of bags. I know you all know what I'm talking about. So you all can look closely, and this is how you attach it. You just basically go through the strap and bring it back through, and you want to sew down the edges to make sure they're nice and neat. Do it again with the other one. Pass it through the short strap and pass it back through the long strap, and that's it. So now that we have attached all our straps to the back, we can now attach it to the side of the bag or the circumference of the bag. So we are just going to make sure and make a little nick so we know where the center of the bag is, and line everything up properly, and we are going to pin it in place. Take your time when doing this because you want to make sure it is lined up properly, all the seams and edges meet well, so that you have a nicely finished bag. Now guys, when we're finished with this, we are going to be sewing it. However, you guys know that I like to be honest with you. I had a hard time sewing this because of the thickness of my fabric. My machine just wasn't having it, so I ended up spending a long time. What was supposed to be, about an hour-long DIY ended up taking me hours because I had to hand sew from this point on, and that was really frustrating. So if you are using a thinner fabric than I am, do not double. Please don't. So I am just going to sew it. As you can see, I've sewn it, and you want to cut off all those excesses from the top. That fabric, that different thread that you're seeing at the bottom, that is because I tried many different ways to sew it, but it just wasn't happening. So now we are going to attach the front face of our bag, and you want to make sure and turn it inside out. But you want to make sure and open the zip so that when you turn it inside out, it can open back. So we just, pin it in place, sew it down, and when we're finished, we turn it inside out just like this. So guys, as I said before, this DIY is only about an hour long, but I suggest to you that if you are using a thicker fabric, do not double any of the things that I doubled. I only did so because my fabric was thinner. Take your time and do this, but it really comes out great at the end. Guys, thank you so much for checking out this week's DIY. Please do not forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and if you want to see more DIYs like this. I had a really good time doing this for you guys. So until next time, namaste cuties.